This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 526, Politics in Comics.
Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Peter Rios.
And this episode of Comic Geek Speak is sponsored by Discount Comic Book Service. If you want to save a lot of money on your comic orders, you can do it now. Go to dcbservice.com, and you can order all your new comics there, and you'll save big dollars. Some of the stuff that's on special this month, Bean World hardcover Volume 1 from Dark Horse is only 50% off for $9.97. Contingent number 1 is 75% off for only 87 cents. House of Mystery Volume 1 from Vertigo, 50% off, $4.99. Punisher Warzone 1 of 6 from Marvel is 75% off for only 99 cents. Subculture Volume 1 from Ape, 50% off for only $8.47. And X-Men Kingbreaker 1 of 4 from Marvel is 75% off for only 99 cents. So just go there, order up your comics, and sit back and wait till they're shipped right to your door. And if you're a first-time customer, make sure you use the coupon code CGS8, and you'll receive an additional 8% off. It's that simple, and you can save big at dcbservice.com.
All right, so with U.S. Presidential elections around the corner, we've gathered over 20 comics podcasts that are joining in the Comics Podcast Theme Event. And we did one back in August or September, was it? July or August?
Yeah.
Was that the Diamond one?
Yeah, it was all on
in July.
Yeah. It was before San Diego. I knew that.
Oh, okay. And that was all on Diamond and Diamond Distributors. And at that time, we only had a handful, but now we have over 20 comics podcasts that are participating. And the theme this month, obviously, politics in comics. And everything from super characters, superheroes, or regular characters becoming either mayors or presidents. A look at Frederick Wortham's crusade against comics. I'm pretty sure the Indie Spinner Act guys are going to be looking at Veeps, which just came out of Top Shelf, which you just read, right, Brian?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And we are going to be looking at, in this episode, we're going to do a spotlight on Prez, first teen president, which came out from D.C. in the 70s. If you want more information on some of the other podcasts, you can go to comicrelated.com. They have a nice little image on the right-hand side of their site that you can click. It says Podcast Theme Event, and you can look at all the other podcasts that have participated so far. Also, weekly comicbookreview.com and superheroes-r-us.com. All three of those sites will have information. And so far, Around Comics, episode 203, Collected Comics Library, 190, the Geeks Unite podcast, episode 35, and Two True Freaks. They're doing a special, political season special, part 1. Those podcasts have already released episodes, and you'll be hearing a lot more. So it's just kind of like a, loose, interrelated, connected kind of thing, just to get some pretty cool conversations going. So spotlight on...
Where the hell do you even start with this?
Spotlight on Prez, the first teen president. How about just some, info dump, just to kick us off?
All right. Take it away.
Yeah. So, 4 issues, around 1972, 73, 74. There was a 5th, but it wasn't published until it was published in Canceled Comics Cavalcade number 2. The writer on the series was Joe Simon. And he's right?
Astonishing.
Well, that's one of the things that was when I was doing a lot of research. They said, this is Joe Simon, co-creator of Captain America, co-creator of or some of the other thing. Was it Fighting America? Did he do that one too?
Yes.
And
yes,
Boy Commandos, yeah.
Boys Ranch, stuff like that.
And then they said, this is not the Joe Simon of the collaboration days. This is Joe Simon by himself, the guy who created Prez and Brother Geek,
Brother Power of the Geek.
Brother Power of the Geek, as well as the Green Team.
Yeah.
Somehow, I totally picture Joe Simon in like a leisure suit, channeling Hugh Hefner or something as he's writing this, because it was totally swinging 70s.
Yeah.
Woo!
The artist, Jerry Grandinetti, who, if that's not a NASCAR last name, I don't know what is, who was the artist, penciler, and the inker on most of the issues, except for Craig Flessel on issue 4. He was the artist on Haunted Tank. And Jamie, you said you had some information on him as well, right?
Yeah, because when you read this, there are a couple, there are chapters in the book, and a couple of chapters have openings like Will Eisner's Spirit, and I was like, what the heck? I thought it was really cool. And then when I did some research into him, he is a disciple of Will Eisner, worked with Will Eisner back in the day, and he wasn't a young guy when he did this. I thought maybe he was like a young hipster type guy. But, working with Eisner back, I believe they said in like the 40s, 50s. So, granted that was only 20 years from when he did this, so maybe he was 20, he was 40. But still, you can see the Eisner influence in a lot of the stuff.
Cool. The main character is Prez Ricard. Outside of those issues, he did make other appearances. He made an appearance, and this was one that was actually in sort of continuity too. It was Supergirl number 10 from October of 1974 by Carrie Bates, and he was president of that Earth, which would make him president of Earth 1.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that was a wacky tale in itself. He also appeared in Sandman 54 in a story called Golden Boy. Pretty sure where. Eventually what happens is, and Gaiman took all this stuff that was in these books and didn't didn't change it or anything. He kind of kept the history the same. By the end of it, Dream offers him a place in the Dreaming. So Prez at that point was part of, the Sandman universe, which was kind of weird. Then there was a Vertigo one-shot, Vertigo Visions, Prez Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Like Teen President.
Smells like Teen President, sorry, yeah. Although it was a very, Kurt Cobain. Yeah. I almost wonder, I think we might even have it in the CGS library. I forgot to look. But that one was written by Ed Brubaker with art by Eric Schanauer, and the editing team was Axel Alonso and Lou Stathis. That came out in 1995. And that continued the story, because there was a guy who believed to be the son. His mother said he was the son of Prez, and he said, "Get out!" So he starts investigating him, trying to find out where he is. And here they find out that he had actually passed away in 1987 because he had a tumor that was being aggravated by the lies and the deceit of President Ronald Reagan and Vice President George Bush. Oh, and hey, Brubaker, right? Because he had written Low Life before that, which was sort of, they said, kind of like a youth tale in and of itself. But then him and Schanauer did collaborate on another book too, but I can't remember what it is. So whatever it was, they saw the character and said, we can use this as a way for commentary, I guess. I don't know.
Definitely.
That's pretty much it publishing-wise, right? You have anything in there?
One other thing from the Wikipedia. There's a reference to Prez in The Dark Knight Strikes Again. It says that Luthor creates a computer program which takes on human form and assumes role of Commander-in-Chief, and its name is President Ricard, and it bears resemblance to a middle-aged Prez.
There you go. One of the other things, I found this on numerous sources, they said the Prez comic, they speculated, was a rebuttal to a 1968 film called Wild in the Streets, which is where a 24-year-old pop star actually gets
it's mentioned in the letters in issue 4. Somebody writes in and says fairly original concept, except for Wild in the Streets.
Right. Yeah, and in it, he gets elected as president. But in that movie, it leads to a whole they call it hippie fascism, and they had a legal discrimination law against people of age above 35. And then when I was looking at the forum, Library Boy is familiar with Prez, and I actually asked if he could join the episode, but unfortunately he had to work. And he made a comment on there and said he wondered if in Mark Waid's most recent Legion of Superheroes, did he make Sunboy intentionally look like Prez Ricard, because he looks like him, number one. And if you think about Wade's Legion, it was a whole ageism thing, calling their elders grandpa. Eat it, grandpa was their slogan and stuff like that. So he's like, he wondered if Wade was sort of inspired by the whole thing too. There certainly smacks of that movie as well. And he just, again, it was all speculation, but it kind of came full circle as I was like looking through all my notes and stuff. So who knows? So as far as we know, as far as anybody on the internet, that's like, those are his only appearances. So the book itself.
Wow, I guess there's a reason why the big DC fan I don't own these issues. Wow, I don't know. I mean, I guess it was a product of its time. Now, this was, I guess, just before Watergate when this came out, like 73, 74.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think what they were going for here. I mean, Eagle Free.
The vice president.
The head of the FBI.
Head of the FBI. I'm sorry, his mom is the vice president.
Head of the FBI, who's got was like a teepee on the Potomac.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the most ridiculous thing about the whole book is that there's like absolutely no security around the president at all. Like they keep
vampires in.
They keep mentioning about the Secret Service, but meanwhile they're not there. And I mean I know it's a comic book and everything, but
right.
I've read so many spy novels and stuff that I've learned a little something about the Secret Service, and they're literally everywhere. The president can't take a dump without the Secret Service knowing, and but he's like slinking off.
Yeah, he's got all his doubles,
though,
of course.
Sure.
That old chestnut.
So ridiculous.
They do. I mean, I loved every second of it. It was just goofy. It was just fun. Didn't really need to make any sense of it. You can't make any sense of it because it's just so silly. But I mean, you got to figure back in those times, it wasn't security wasn't quite what it is today. There were times when, like they said, JFK would get away from the Secret Service. He would go out and do things without the Secret Service knowing. So, I mean, I buy that. I buy that. They also set it up that the older people don't like him, so they're not going to protect him as well
that's true, yeah.
as well as a Secret Service
They're
probably
starting
would.
impeachment hearings against him. Yeah.
So, I mean, they do set it up. It's like I said, it's just wacky, goofy, silly. The great grandson of George Washington is in Valley Forge and
Valley Forgery.
Valley Forgery. That's right, Valley Forgery.
Fighting vampires.
Yeah,
I want to know why those soldiers of the fake George Washington, why they're even there. Like, they're not even paying them, and they got bare feet in the snow, and they're like, they could just go into town. Like, I don't understand. The whole thing is ridiculous.
It is. I think they're highly hysterical myself. Like, I do. I think there's a charm to them. They are. I think they're DC's when they were bloated and didn't have much in the way of competition. Not yet, anyway. With like Marvel, like these DC's was pretty much throwing everything out there, and they said, let's just do it. I mean, they did it, and it's like, you can't even say Prez is like DC's version of like Howard the Duck, because Howard the Duck has had more success than Prez. Prez has become just like a fun chestnut, or a fun little trivia thing. So,
and it's funny how, I mean, you could tell that the whole cancellation was extremely abrupt, because there's absolutely no mention in issue 4 that this is it. In fact, issue 4 is the first one that has a letters column, because they finally got letters in. And the first letters, this is like the greatest comic. That first letter is a phony. Read that first letter.
It says, Dear Joe, what a magazine. A first in comic history and an excellent job on the script and art. I've never seen a book like this before. I'm 18, and this book really tells it like it is from where I stand. You've a great way of telling fantastic stories. Pages 12 and 13 can be true enough, and Boss Smiley is one real crook. Keep up the great job you're doing, Will D. Nash, in Magnolia, New Jersey.
The rest of them seem real, but that first one seems like the editor himself wrote it.
And for you trivia geeks out there, it's mail to the chief if you want.
Which is great.
That
which
is
is
great.
fantastic.
That is fantastic.
That's the best part about the book.
But the guy didn't leave his address, so they couldn't give him a prize or anything.
Yeah.
But how about the Prez? He wears a sweatshirt all the time. It just says Prez USA on it. That's all he wears. That's more like a turtleneck, I guess.
That's like Scooby-Doo. They always wear the same costume.
And all the kids are wearing him, apparently, when he goes out in the street.
For those people wondering how a teenager can become president, it through shenanigans and wackiness, they actually put in like a constitutional amendment that lowers the eligibility down to 18.
Yeah,
and
42.
Yeah, and then something happens where the Boss Smiley, this one guy, Boss Smiley, who that is pretty funny. He just has like a big smiley face for a head. Like I thought that was kind of funny. They want him to first become senator, and then he becomes president, and and it's all crazy. And of course, the whole youth movement explodes. And somebody online they described it as they wondered if this was DC's attempt at connecting with the baby boom that was the people that were of the baby boom, at this time they were getting closer to this age or whatever.
Well, it would make sense. I mean, my parents would have been 23.
Yeah.
And that would have been, coming off, still Vietnam,
right,
all that stuff. So
yeah, and it
makes sense.
And they said it was funny because it didn't quite go the way you would think, like because even though his party was the New Flower Party, but they it wasn't like he was always preaching peace because what was the one scene where the whole gun law thing, but then he's like, let's go bomb the whatever or whatever,
he realizes the error of his ways,
right.
And you do need weapons to
but they did,
the peace.
but he still voted for for that, well, which I think is interesting because that's still going on now. The fight for the small arms ban, is still something that's brought up constantly, and it's something that the NRA rails against, and the Republicans are supposed to be against that, and all that stuff. So it's still very topical. And I felt like I was reading something that was written right now.
Yeah,
so.
It was to me. It was almost written a little bit late because you got to figure the flower power and all that was like late 60s, early 70s. So this was, if anything, I thought this was their way of trying to connect with that era, that the more of the hippies, the more of the disillusioned youth at the Nixon keeping us in Watergate and not keeping us in Vietnam. The whole Watergate was just starting to break because that was actually that would have broken because that was the election of '72. So they're in the middle of that. So to me, that was just them trying to desperately, and why they chose Joe Simon to do this, or why Joe Simon decided this was the time he was going to jump back in. Because I was trying to read. I have his autobiography that he wrote with his son. So I thought, okay, this will be cool. I'll be able to at least there'll be a chapter or something on Prez and why he wrote it and all that. So I looked up, and there's one page. It shows the pictures of what he wrote at that time, and all it says was, these didn't go over very well. Something to that effect. He did really enjoy it because at this time he also reconnected with Kirby, and they did their Sandman, the
right.
gold and red Sandman issues.
Yeah, because Kirby was just getting back to DC, with all the Kirby stuff.
Yeah. So and that was what they talked about a little bit. Nothing about Prez, just like a picture. So even in his autobiography, he doesn't really explain. I tried to look up some interviews. I couldn't really find him talking much about Prez. So I'm just curious. I would love to know exactly why. Talk to him and just ask him why at that point he decided to write Prez.
By the way, I meant to say Fourth World stuff, not Kirby stuff. It was Kirby stuff, but he did. I found one quote. I can only find because I did an online thing for interview Joe Simon Prez. Couldn't find anything. I found one quote. It said, "The Prez. This is Joe Simon, an adolescent in the White House, just like the current occupant." Now I don't know what year that's from, though. That's the only.
It's applicable
thing.
pretty much any time, right?
So I was like, I tried to find what year that came from, but I couldn't. So. Did it feel, when you guys read it, does it feel preachy at all at times? Especially like with Evil
No,
Free
because I think it a fairly. I mean, there's always the Young Republican Club, which doesn't qualify for what I'm about to say, but it seems always fairly universal that young kids, high school and college, you have all these ideals, and because that's all you think about and you focus on because you don't have a family, and you don't have a job, and you don't have kids. And then once you get all that stuff, you start paying less attention to the big world and only your world, right? So you stop caring so much about all those things. And if he's 18, right, it's always thinking about that is his whole world. And so it makes sense the way he's behaving because most people. That's why there's always rebellions and stuff on college campuses because that's all they can think about. And I think it didn't feel preachy. It felt right. It felt like I wasn't 18 that long ago. I still remember what it was like, and I would have been a lot the same. Although it just the zaniness of everything.
I love one of my favorite in jokes is Bobby Fishhead, which is
the
Bobby
chest.
Fisher, the
Right.
chest. Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, didn't they even mention Bobby Fisher?
Oh, do they mention?
Yeah, they
it?
mentioned.
Yeah, they
it.
mentioned him
Okay.
by name in there.
I
But
just-
how about
Fisher.
the first lady is his mother,
It's his mother.
and he just calls her by her first name. Hey, Martha. It just seems so odd.
That and him always on time. He's always on
Yeah,
time.
he's always
for-
punctual.
Hey,
Well, that was
I like
part
that
of
part.
how I think helped him get noticed in the first place. He fixed the clock.
There's a whole backstory about like the city where he grew up. Everybody has all the clocks, and they're all like different, set at different times, so the bells are constantly ringing. And I guess he's the one who fixes it all. It's like this whole, it's like the one sort of really interesting aspect. It's like, where's the story in that?
He's OCD.
I guess.
But then again, that could also be a swipe at They always said Hitler made the trains run on time, so that could be their little. They're not so much saying he's Hitler, but just
Right,
a little
right.
swipe at that. I think had it taken itself seriously, it could have been preachy.
Yeah.
But because it was just so goofy and
Obviously goofy.
and just outlandish, and they knew that it was goofy, and they could put stuff in like the whole the ban on small arms, stuff like that, and then they could explore it using George Washington's great grandson and all that goofiness.
Well, it wasn't even it was great grandson.
Okay.
Which isn't even that many generations. It's like that guy would have to be 100. Like this is ridiculous.
Don't think about it too much.
I know, but I mean, it's me. and
Well, I
look
know
at-
it's you,
I look at
but-
that and I go, well, that doesn't add up.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing. No, it doesn't add up.
I think it was the 70s, so you got to figure it was over 30 some years ago.
Yeah, but still, my great grandmother was born in 1900. So my great grandmother might have been born in 1870 or something. You know what I mean? So I was like, wait, that doesn't work.
My grandmother was born in 1907, grandmother. So
Well, even still, that's a long
Yeah.
way from 1776.
I know. Don't think about it.
Did one of these issues that you guys read? I don't know if it was in the first one or the whole where he's playing ping pong with
Yes.
Mao Zedong.
And then they had they had the wrong translator, so the translators from Nigeria were
were
there. I'm like, wait a minute, they speak English in Nigeria. I thought, so that was confusing to me,
Yeah.
Or maybe French. Well, I think it's English though. And then he's doing Indian Sign Language, and somehow he's translating. Which is like, what? Why would Indian Sign Language
like
work with
Babylon.
the Chinese? It doesn't make
all
any
Babylon.
sense.
And the reason why they're playing ping pong is because for anybody who doesn't know, the ping pong was just accepted as like one of the Olympic sports at that time, and China was like really. They also play on it in Forrest Gump as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Right.
The whole scene in Forrest Gump, but
Yeah, that was
I thought
how
that was
the Chinese were being accepted back into society, not society, but into the
world
world culture.
Yeah. His groove room. Did you
Oh,
see
yes.
experience of
The
that?
groove.
How awesome would it be to have it go to the White House and look? That's my groove
My
room.
groove. Yeah. Get your groove back in
I
there.
think Monica Lewinsky
I was
found
gonna
that
say,
room.
Oh,
yeah.
there we
Clinton
go.
calls it the Oval Office.
But it's kind of related. There's a guy 3 houses down who has a fantastic bumper sticker. It says, it says Clinton screwed his intern. George Bush screwed us all. I just thought that was it's very, it's in topic here.
Appropriate.
You just want to get that in there.
That's so funny.
Send all your letters to Brian Deemer at comicgeekspeak.com.
What else about these wacky issues?
Well, the best part about him is the ads. I paid a lot of it. I was really paying attention. Every one of these has 2 or 3 ads for companies that can help you learn how to be a locksmith
Or
and then
learn electronics. The
Yeah,
Cleveland Institute of something.
yeah, and it's all those kind of
yeah,
things.
the
like,
Cleveland Institute of Electronics.
Screw that. I was looking at the toys going, yep, had that.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah,
had
yeah.
that.
The AFX on the back.
Wish I still had that.
Yeah.
All
did you see the big stickers? There were giant static cling decals you could put on your car, like giant Green Lantern on your car.
Here's one: never finished high school. Now you can get a diploma without going back. The Wayne School in Chicago, Illinois.
This is how you can tell, and it's kind of funny because it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. Circulation, maybe not on Prez, but on a lot of titles was much higher than it is now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yet they had low rent advertisers. Now you have these tiny print runs, yet big movie studios and big video game budgets are spending lots of money to advertise in comics. So it's kind of interesting how it wasn't acceptable advertising space for big companies yet.
Here's this in number 4, the vampire issue. Eagle Free holds up. They're fighting a vampire who's like rolling around. Oh, he has no legs.
He has no legs.
Yeah. Which he's on another like the veterans have, strapped to the board so they can wheel themselves.
Oh my god!
And he runs away from him on the wheelie thing. He goes down the steps of the White House.
Yeah, well, he's somehow able to leap with it.
The
too.
Secret Service can't catch him. He's on a little wheelie board.
I got no legs.
Oh my god!
How else is going to fit in that little briefcase casket that the guy brings in?
But I thought what was funny is Eagle Free holds up this symbol, right? And the vampire says, "What's that? A Nazi swastika?" And he goes, "Wrong, Dracula. This is a cross, the Indian hooked cross. The Great Spirit will strike you down if you advance beyond the sign." And there's a lot of research and educational tools that show you, or documentaries or whatever, that the Nazi symbol has other meanings.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's kind of interesting that they threw that in here too. Like that seems to me like a very calculated thing. Like we're going to show what else this means, show the misconceptions of it.
Coming from Joe Simon.
Well, yeah, definitely makes sense.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," because I knew that was an Indian symbol.
We had it at my college. It was a Catholic college, and the one building is the old convent that's been converted into the classrooms and stuff. And the tile work on the floor has little swastikas all over. Not the backwards one, the forwards one, because that was a symbol from either Catholicism or Judaism or both or something long ago. And so, it's kind of interesting.
I love this ad in, I guess this is issue 4 for DC Comics, those oversized first editions. The biggest news in comics. Action Comics #1 sold for $1,800 recently. Oh. Now an exact copy can be yours. Like, oh, man.
Wouldn't you like to spend $1,800 on that?
Yikes, a hootie.
Little return on your investment.
Well, heck, that issue is like at least $20 to $30 I've seen at most conventions.
The first edition?
Yeah, that first edition.
But
the
it's like
oversized
an exact
first edition.
replica, but it's like huge.
Yeah, it's one of the oversized
Right.
when they're doing the oversized stuff.
Now, what are these issues? These Prez issues? Can you find these in back issue bins?
I don't think I paid any more than $1 for any of those.
Okay.
I thought I had #1, and it's somewhere in my collection that just hasn't been put into order. But usually, like I said, a while ago I started picking up stuff from the 70s, and that's what I normally look for at shows. And I know I didn't pay any more than $1 for these. Not in the greatest condition. I would say, fair, good to fair. But you see them sometimes. The bigger shows, I think I got all of these at Heroes.
Okay.
So they are out there. Just look for them. I mean, right now, to be honest with you, and you guys know this from going to shows, the 70s stuff is what people are bringing out now. It's the stuff that's desirable. It used to be the 60s, and now they've pushed into the 70s. And this stuff is becoming a little more prevalent, but it can be found fairly cheap. I don't think more than $5-10 at most if you're going to find them in great condition.
I can't imagine that. I'm surprised in the past 8 years they haven't brought this character back, or somebody. If this is a way for creators to use a character for commentary, as that Vertigo Visions one shot clearly is. Mm-hmm. This is one that you could keep bringing back, no matter who's in the White House. It just seems like a concept that's rife with possibilities, as wacky as it is.
With all these current writers bringing back old characters, making them relevant today. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Prez's been around for 35 years and only seen 6-7 appearances.
I mean, think of Uncle Sam, right? Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Been around for a while as a character, and they put him in all different kinds of eras, and it just seems like it's like they already have Uncle Sam, so.
Plus, you would think purely for copyright. Well, copyright to keep Prez and all of that kind of stuff. That at least you wouldn't see a one shot somewhere. I mean,
and that's actually his name, Prez.
Prez.
Mother named it that because I thought she'd be. Or she thought he'd be a president someday.
But every mother back then thought
Yeah.
you're going to be president.
Can you
That's
imagine?
wishful thinking.
That name didn't catch on.
There's while I was also doing more research, a funny story came up back from 2007. I think it's from 2007. A 16-year-old kid in Iceland called the White House to talk with the president and claimed that he was the president of Iceland. And like the way they describe it in the article, the secretary or whoever picked up the phone, she wrote it down that they would call him back later, and he actually wound up like the Secret Service or the police in Iceland. They like rounded him up and wanted to know how he got the number, and he said he wasn't sure, got it from a friend, and blah blah blah. And I think he was even quoted as saying something like, I who knew that calling the White House was a illegal, he just called the White House.
Right.
So hysterical. And the other thing was there was I don't know if they ever made a movie, but because I didn't take the time to research any further because I thought it was ridiculous. But Bow Wow, the little rapper Bow Wow, was going to make a movie, I think called The Prez or something, where he was like this little kid from Philadelphia who becomes the president. And I was like, oh my God, that's a riot.
Little Bow Wow as president.
Wow. Call me Prez. It's like, comics got you beat on that one. You looking up the anything in the...
I was just looking up to see what the prices were. This is, what year is this?
There's a more recent one back there. But...
Okay, well, still, I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't think the price is going to fluctuate that much.
After this episode, maybe.
Oh, yeah, it'll be
Yes,
just
that's
be the next Doctor Strange 55.
16 to 10 for the very fine to mint. And
Each
then
or total?
16 for 1, 10 for 2 through 4.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And it goes all the way down to $1. So the issues I have are probably at $1.
I can't believe it. Anybody would pay $16 for that.
But then again, I guess you got to figure the print run on these must have been amazingly low. I can't imagine them being very high.
I guess the canceled comics cavalcade issue probably is more expensive just because those are incredibly...
They've only
can't
really
find those.
only like 35 of those, I believe, and just to keep the copyrights for them.
Yeah.
I so wish wish they would reprint those so I could get all those.
You see them every now and then at a show, and it's like, someday.
I think it'd be a perfect opportunity for DC to do like some of these series in the 70s that only lasted 4 issues, 1 issue, 5 issues, and just call it like, Showcase Presents the 70s or something.
There you go.
Like just DC 70s and get all these issues out there. Like Hercules Unbound. How long did that go? That might have went a little longer. I know I've seen at least 6 of those, but there are probably more of those.
Cobra.
The Joker. For God's sake.
Yeah. God, I think it'd be interesting. But the character's goofy, and as goofy as it is, it's like it's along the lines of like Ambush Bug and Inferior 5 and all these crazy zany DC characters that just live on the fringes of their universe, and they're bizarre. So,
That's for sure.
yeah. So there you go. Prez, little spotlight on Prez. Go look at it and see it for yourself. It's worth it. So,
Step back into the Wayback Machine.
That's right.
speaking of presidential candidates,
What do you think?
That's a nice segue.
What do you think, Peter?
You haven't
It's your
seen them yet?
first time.
yeah, they're great. And Lynn Workman did the art, right?
Yeah, we are, of course, talking about the Puppet Rios 08 button. So you can show your support for the puppet for president. It's just a silly little thing we decided to do. And Lynn Workman did its original artwork just for the button.
Yeah.
You'll see it nowhere else. Which
It's a riot.
Is that in puppet years? I guess he's 42 in puppet years.
Yeah.
it could be. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? If you're a puppet, you're ageless.
Hey, Constitution's a Constitution.
No, you have to be 36, I thought.
35.
35.
Okay, I thought it was 42.
Oh, I could be president?
Next year, baby.
Puppet Rios.
Deemer 2012. Right. My checkered past will come back and haunt me.
Yeah.
That's right.
It'll be all over the news.
Sort of write-in vote. You can find these on the swag page.
That's right, on ComicGeekSpeak.com. Click on the swag link. They're only $1, and it's just a fun little collector's item. We're not going to make them available. After the election, you won't be able to get them anymore. So
Made to order.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to have, one little piece of CGS history, there's a possibility that it might be valued at up to $1.25
That's
someday.
right.
So, pick it up.
The election's on the 4th of November, right? And the 1st, we're going to be at Wild Pig. So
yes.
we'll bring along some buttons.
That's right. I'll have
handing
some
out
at Wild
campaign. We'll bring the puppet along for a campaign appearance.
You should.
He's going to have a stump stop.
Put a little fedora hat on him. Oh, we should get one of those boater hats. The ones that are like the wicker that have the little ribbon around it.
That's right. Yeah, that would be really
So
funny.
we'll be stumping for the puppet Rios.
Oh, that is
His
funny.
one and only campaign stop.
Yes.
That is funny.
So check them out. It's just fun. All right. Stump the Rio sent in by Dan Kurtzky. Question 1, DC. According to Green Lantern Corps 19, the epilogue issue, how many Green Lanterns died in the Sinestro War?
Oh, Jesus. That's ridiculous. 4,326. Too many.
Salak is seen forging 12 new rings of a stated 442. Okay. Question 2, Marvel. Where did Ben Reilly get the blue hoodie that would become the final touch to his Scarlet Spider costume?
A skate shop.
The gift shop outside of the spider exhibit of the Museum of Natural History,
Oh, okay.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a cool question.
Question 3, Independent. Depending on when you get to this entry, IDW is currently putting out a Doctor Who book that fits into the continuity of the seasons featuring David Tennant as the Doctor. How old is the Doctor?
212.
I am not sure.
903.
Oh,
That's old.
that is old.
Yes, it is.
I wish I looked that good at 903.
Well, if you
Instead of a
died,
rotting
if
corpse.
you died and regenerated, then you can look
Yeah.
at it.
You've been stumped, Peter.
Yeah, that first question. I don't know about that one. Never. Some little tidbit that'll never be addressed again.
Well, now you can add it to your. You can put it in the trivia.
I would
game.
never put
I
that
know,
question in
I'm
my
just-
trivia game. That is so trivial that I would never put it in my trivia question. All right. What do we got next here?
We got a promo here.
Yeah.
You want to hear a promo?
Let's do that.
Welcome to the future. Our future. And soon to be your future. Well, until the next retcon, or reboot. Welcome to the Legion of Substitute Podcasters. Forged in the past by Tales of the Future. The Legion of Substitute Podcasters. And now, the secret origin of the Legion of Substitute Podcasters. You know, someone should do a podcast about the Legion of Superheroes.
Yes. Yes, they should.
We should ask the guys at CGS to do it.
But aren't they kind of busy?
Oh no, it would be a great idea.
I'm not so sure about this. I mean, they have the weekly podcasts they do. They're planning all their con appearances, setting up interviews with comic talent, scheduling the next Super Show, and restocking the bar for their next anniversary episode.
Oh, come on. It'll be an easy sell.
Let's go in and tell them about it. Wow, they are tough.
What are you talking about? We never got past Tasha and the dogs.
Choke. Now our dreams will never come true.
No, wait. I'm having a flash of precognition.
Really?
No, but we need a plot device to get to the point, don't we?
True dat.
I see us talking across wide distances with other Legion fans. I see us doing it, Paul and Rick. Don't you see? We're the Legion of Super Podcasters.
We can't be the Legion of Super Podcasters. We were just kicked out of the club.
Then we'll be the Legion of Substitute Podcasters. One day we'll prove that we are worthy.
Yes!
We've heard that people have a tough time understanding Legion of Superheroes. It's hard to keep track of which lad, lass, boy, or girl is which. And what the hell's a Xanthu anyway? Let us make that a lot easier for you. Join Paul French, Rick Croxton, Darren Noel, and our mystery legionnaire for a fun ride through the history of the future. www.legionofsubstitutepodcasters.com.
And if you didn't recognize some of those names, Paul, obviously, from the Poptopia podcast, Rick Cruxton's on the forums, and Darren Noel is Rainbow Cloak.
Oh, that down. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
So they're going to be doing a Legion episode that the first episode might even be out the same day that this episode's out. So you take a look for that, and eventually they'll even set up a forum, and you'll no longer see me on the CGS forum because I'll be in the Legion forum.
Just want to know who Polar Boy is. Which one is Polar Boy?
Which was Polar Boy, yeah. I told them they need to come up with like their own new names, you know.
Okay.
How funny would
Well,
it
you'd be Rainbow Lad.
be? Yeah, right. Rainbow Lad. I don't know.
Reaching for the stars.
Music Boy. Or
Maple
something.
Boy.
Maple Boy.
I don't know.
And is Rick
Guitar
Croxton in
Lad.
the South somewhere?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. There's so many people to keep track of.
Yeah. But it does surprise me there hasn't been a Legion podcast to this date. So
There you go. Now that market's closed.
yep.
Move along, people. Nothing more to see here.
There is a convention at the Reading Expo Center,
You all know where that is.
right, which is where Super Show was held, Saturday, October 18th. So that's this Saturday if you hear this episode in time. Too Many Games. It's the Too Many Games convention. There's a $10 pre-registration, which gets you a 10 a.m. admission, or a $5 admission at the door, which means you get in at 11 a.m. It's the East Coast's longest-running indie gaming convention. It's back for its second 2008 event. They held one back in May, I believe. Let's see, they rented out the
whole big
entire
space.
250,000 square foot. The Guitar Hero National Champions will be returning, sponsored by Jolt Energy Drinks. The Drawn to Game art exhibit will display the best works of area video game artists. They're going to have a bigger selection of arcade games, MOAR consoles set up for everyone to play, and of course, a packed gaming marketplace where vendors hawk the greatest games and gaming gear of all time, and probably some games that sucked too. So it says, get out those PDAs, iPhones, slap it into your schedule, and make sure you're at Too Many Games this October. And you can go to the website toomanygames.com to check out all the events and vendors and some photos, sponsors, etc. And I know we don't. I assume we have some listeners in Reading, but maybe even Allentown, maybe New Jersey. That it's not
Certainly Philly and stuff.
sure. TooManyGames.com. They said we can give away 10 free tickets.
Oh, wow.
So we're just gonna say the first 10 people
That email us?
that
or-
email us at comicgeekspeak.com.
Sure.
Put in the subject Too Many Games tickets win or something like that, and we'll pick the first 10. So you only get one free ticket, but it's only $5 if at the door. You can
Yeah.
bring a friend.
I was when you first told me about this, I got really, really excited. And then I looked at the website and saw that it seems to be very video game focused.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like, because I was thinking, oh man, Euro gaming and role playing, and I can go over there and play games all day, and that's going to be awesome for only $5. And then I was like, oh, well, I'm not that big into video games, so.
I saw you return the because we sent some emails back and forth, and I saw you return. I was like, does he know this is video games? Because I'd seen them up there before.
And then I went to the website and looked at all the pictures, and it was all vendors selling like old first generation Nintendo games. I'm like, I don't want Duck Hunt. I don't, I don't. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people who love video games, so that's awesome
yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
I'm not talking down about it. I'm just saying it's not what I want. I was hoping that it was when I heard the name.
The whole allure of the arcade games, like that they're gonna have arcade games. Oh God!
Yeah, but do you have to put quarters in, or can you just play?
I'll put quarters in. I don't care. I wasted so much money as a kid on arcade games. And then when I see him at the boardwalk now, you see, oh man, alive! I start to quiver.
That's what I love around here, the Berkshire Mall and up at their arcade. Because actually, the Fairground Square Mall doesn't have an arcade anymore.
Mm-hmm.
About a year or so ago, they like redid it and got nothing. Well, there are some like the Dance Revolution stuff like that, but they got almost nothing but old games. Talking like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, Penguin, Tetris. I'm trying to think of that one. Just a whole bunch of old games. And man, I walked in there and I was like walking back in time. It was just like, oh God, I love these games. I had every time it goes there, I have to at least go up there and throw $1 and play some games.
That's something that really is almost gone. I mean, it used to be that, you know, the technology of the arcade games was so superior to home games, but now that has basically gone away.
Yeah.
And now at home you can play online with people around the world, and it's like, why go spend 50 cents a pop or $1 a pop in an arcade when you just buy the game and play it at home? And so they had to come up with games that, like, now they have the motorcycle games with you actually sit on the motorcycle and lean, and the skateboarding game, and the Dance Revolution, the stuff that requires hardware that you can't really get at home. Mm-hmm. But people are like, I play video games at home. What do I got to play at the mall for? You know, it's like my kids will probably not even know what an arcade is. No.
They have here some of the vendor tournaments: Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart Double Dash.
Now that would be fun because that's my all-time favorite game, Mario Kart.
Super Smash Melee, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Dr. Mario 64, Tetris 64, Mortal Kombat Arcade, one-on-one single elimination, Guitar Hero 3, Xbox 360. There you go, pants. Bust a Move 2 from Sega Saturn, Wii Fit Soccer Heading at 1 o'clock. So it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do.
The only arcade game I ever played, because I was too cheap to play arcade, I was like, nah, I'll save my money. But when I worked at the movie theater at Fox East, we had a couple arcade games, and one was Mortal Kombat 3. And one day it was totally slow. There was nobody there. So we wheeled that thing in the back room and hacked into the back of it and undid the latches. So like the whole console, you could just flip up. So there's latches inside. So we just undid the latches, put the whole thing back together again, and nobody thinks to lift it up. So we would go over, lift it up, and flick the coin thing, and ching, 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 and get like 50 free games. So when no one was in the... And I mean, it lasted for the whole time I was there, months and months. The guys who came to take the coins out just opened the little coin drawer and never actually checked to see that thing was open. So I knew Baraka. That was the only player that I knew. I knew all of his, fatality moves. Yeah. So I would play Mortal Kombat 3. That's the only game I ever played in the arcade, other than like a quarter here and a quarter there. Like once in a while, if it was my friend, I'd play one game because I just was too cheap to spend money on that.
Speaking of gaming, we have a voicemail all about another kind of gaming near and dear to the CGS crew.
Hey guys, Damien back again, and I was just actually thinking, if you want to talk about board games that, I think you'll all enjoy, if you want something that's sort of like a no-brainer but a lot of fun, you need to check out Robo Rally. It's a combination between a bit of a miniatures game, board game, and a card game, where you've got to basically get your robot around there's all sorts of pits and stuff like that on these maps that you actually put together. So you make up your maps first up, so you can literally design it. You put the flags that you've all got to touch, and then the first person who wins is, you gets the last one. But you can try to sabotage everyone else, and you get things like guns and lasers and God knows what. You really need to check it out. It's a great game, and the more people, the more fun it is, because you're just trying to take each other out. But other than that, if you're playing with a lot of people, I'll use fewer boards. I remember we had a game that went for about 6 or 7 hours at one point, just because there were so many of us. We were playing like 12 boards, whatever that you put together. So you've got the board that you play on, this little modular board, and you just bump all the pits up against each other, so you never have the same map twice. Check it out. You should really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I've played it many times.
That's not a Steve Jackson game. That was Car Wars, right? That was Steve Jackson.
Yeah, that was actually a Wizards of the Coast game, I think.
Oh, really?
When it first came out. But no, Bill Vita had that and all the, and it is really cool because he's right. It's you get little robots, and it's like there's like conveyor belts and little smashing things, and what you do is you deal out cards and you figure out how your robot's going to go because you're trying to get it through there to, like you said, to flags. And each person does this. So you start it and you go like one space. Each person goes one space. And things happen like you'll go down a conveyor belt. You'll push a guy into a conveyor belt who'll then shoot off. And then all of a sudden his strategy is gone. The guns, all that kind of stuff. It is a lot of fun, and we really ought to do it. We ought to get the game and do it sometime because it is a lot of fun. I'll have to talk to Bill and try to get him over here on a Friday night.
Cool. Yeah, we had a game night this past Friday night, and we played Killer Bunnies for the first time, which was a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed that. Of course, I was.
That's another zany, crazy game where the objective is it's a card game, and you everybody has bunnies, and you have to kill everyone else's bunnies, and then the person who has the special carrot at the end wins, and that's fun. And then we got the 5 to 6 player expansion for Pillars of the Earth, so we could finally. I've had that. I got that right after Christmas this year, and we played it like once or twice because we always have more than 4 people, so we could never play it. So once I got the 5 to 6 player expansion, we could finally play it, and we played a game of that, and that is a really good game. It's based on a book, which suggests that the game probably wouldn't be very good because it would just be capitalizing on the name, but actually it's an excellent game. And so if you're a fan of the book and a fan of games, you should get this game. You'll really like it.
And a fan of the 12th century. But yeah, no, I like the game mechanics better than Catan. I like it better than some of the other games that we've played. I really do. It's really cool.
And speaking of game, while we're on this topic, I might as well throw it out there because there might be people who are interested. I was made aware of Dana, a friend, and he and Bill and Nate all go together. He made me aware of a game store in New Holland, PA, which is actually just a couple minutes past Shady Maple, and it is called 6 Feet Under Games. It is an enormous store. It's probably twice the size of Golden Eagle, okay, wow. And it's only games. And most of it is tables where you can play. They have an entire huge wall of all the Euro board games, all brand new, just everything, games that I have never seen, and I've been in other game stores, and I've never seen some of these games. It's really impressive inventory. But the best part about this store is they have this big back room that's the game library. Anytime that the store is open, you can walk in, go into the game library, take a game, sit down at the table. If there's an empty seat at the table, sit down at a table and play. And then when you're done playing, put the game back in the library, take another one out if you want. You could stay there all day long and just play games for free. Because, of course, the longer you're in the store, the sooner you are more likely you are to buy something. And it was wonderful. I mean, we played Railroad Tycoon. I went over on Tuesday night with Dana and Nate and Bill and Tom from Old Computers and Games. Yeah.
Okay.
And we played Railroad Tycoon, which was a great game. First time I played it, they had played it before. And just an awesome store. And that is so cool to be able to play. So then because these games are $50, $60, and it's nice to try it before you buy it. Now you can. And the woman who runs the place knows all the rules to all the games, it seems, because she was answering questions to everybody who was playing games. And so she's really friendly, and it was I talked to her for a little while, and again, she invited me to come in. She's like, Friday and Saturday nights, a lot of times we don't even close. We just stay open all night long because people are playing these war games that take 10 hours to play or whatever. So she just stays open, lets them play. It's like, wow, that's incredible.
That is neat.
So if you are anywhere in Lancaster, Reading, you need to check out 6 Feet Under Game, and it's 6feetundergames.com. They have some pictures. Even if you're in Arizona, you can't possibly make it. You just want to peek at the website. They have a lot of pictures. It's a very nice store. Cool. Do we want to remind people about some of the other podcasts we released in the last couple of weeks?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we have another. I released another Exploring Bay Day episode. It's episode 3. My host Matt and we just talk about some of the stuff we've been reading, and I think it was a nice episode. And Pants, you and Shane had a new World of Toys.
Well, I saw your link for the Terry Dodson book. That's some really good looking stuff.
I told you.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, Shane and I recently, just this previous episode on the CGS feed, episode 4 of World of Toys, we talked about the hot toys for the holiday season. We used a press release from Toys R Us. They listed the top 15 toys. Use as a guide and give our own thoughts on what we think is going to be hot for the holiday season. And seems to get some pretty good response in the forum. A lot of folks compared it to going through like an old Sears catalog. I want this toy and this toy and this toy.
I remember the Sears catalog,
yeah,
man. That was
going
like
through the old Sears and Montgomery.
Oh,
and for me, I was a little younger. The service merchandise catalog was a big favorite
Absolutely,
as well.
yep.
No.
So
I mean,
that was-
hours and hours just sitting there memorizing every toy, and oh man,
So that was
Star Wars displays and the real G.I. Joe displays
Yeah.
with the big G.I. Joes.
that was a fun episode, Shane and I. That was World of Toys episode 4.
good stuff.
Book of the Month reminder. This month is Manga Month, October. Tutera Volume 1 by
Keiko Takemiya.
Takemiya, yeah. And just one volume. It's from Vertical Inc. And then November is Geek's Choice. And that's Brian's choice of Elephant Men Volume 1, Wounded Animals. Both the both the softcover and hardcover are available from InStock Trades for 47% off. So please join us in our Book of the Month episodes. You can go to the forum and you can discuss it in the pinned Book of the Month thread discussion. And you can also, if you want, send a voicemail in and we'll play it on the show. So that is Book of the Month for October and November. Great. So that's our politics in comics discussion. And as I said, you can check out the other podcasts that are in the Comics Podcast theme event this month. You can go to comicrelated.com. You can go to weeklycomicbookreview.com and superheroes-r-us.com as well to find out more information and on those all those other podcasts. So there you go. There you have it.
All right, this episode was sponsored by Discount Comic Book Service. If you want to save up to 75% off on all your new comics and have them shipped conveniently right to your door and don't have to worry about missing anything, just go to dcbservice.com. And if you're a first-time customer, you can enter the coupon code CGS8 and you will receive an additional 8% off your first order. And that is an awesome deal. If you'd like to send us an email, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To visit our website, it's comicgeekspeak.com. And go to the swag page if you want to buy your very own Puppet Rios for President button. To leave us a voicemail, the number is 215-279-8839. And to be part of the greatest community of comic fans ever, go to thecomicforums.com. Oh, Buzz is sending me messages here. And yeah, that's it. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.